St. Jude and Washington University bring unique and very complementary strengths to this project. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is one of the outstanding institutions devoted to the care and research into the causes and to the treatment of cancer in children. Washington University has interests in the same area and has great strength in the area of genome analysis, genome sequencing, and understanding fundamental bases, the cellular basis of cancer and various malignancies. And so to bring these two institutions with their complementary strengths together to attack this most important problem really has great potential.
Whole genome sequencing is much more powerful as an approach to studying the mutations that are involved in cancer, because you're not just looking at a portion of the genome, you're looking at the whole genome. You're going to look at all genes rather than just a few selected genes that might have an association with cancer. You're also going to look at all regions of the genome that might be important in turning a gene on or off at a certain time or in a certain cell type. All of these are factors that can cause cancer. We'd like to understand completely what's going on in a particular tumor.
We're bringing together some decided strengths toward a really important problem, which is solving pediatric cancer. On the St. Jude side, there are very important resources in terms of pediatric tumors that have been collected over years, representing the three major types of cancer that affect kids. On our side, I think we have an established track record in sequencing whole cancer genomes, finding important mutations, and showing that those mutations have a value for either predicting the patient's outcome from that disease, whether they will survive it or not, for thinking about the next generation of therapeutic agents to treat that cancer, and so on. And so the combination of the two really bring together the two critical elements that you need for this kind of a project to make it a success.
So our first order of business is to find recurring mutations in cancer that affect the patient's outcomes. And that's always the first thing that will be on the minds of everybody doing these studies. But as we find them as well, which, for example, we found one in the second genome that we sequenced here from an AML patient, you also can get new targets for drug development, novel targets that no one had ever thought of before, that could potentially lead to drugs that would specifically target that mutation, just as Gleevec targets the mutation in chronic myeloid leukemia, which is a famous kind of targeted therapy that people talk about.
Sequencing of whole human genomes, specifically from cancer patients, it's a pretty new activity, and it's one that we essentially have pioneered here at Washington University and at the Genome Center. It's an activity that's very difficult, has required considerable technical development, as well as the development of software tools to analyze all the genome data and actually find the mutations that are present in the cancer genome relative to a patient's normal genome. So it's something that we've been working on for a few years. We now have it to a point where it's very much of what we call a pipeline activity, where we can really start to think about doing this on a large number of samples. And this is the reason that St. Jude has come and asked us to collaborate with them on this project.
As a pediatric geneticist, I'm very excited about this for a number of reasons. I've seen throughout my career many children who have been battling cancer, and many, unfortunately, who have succumbed. And to think that this work might lead to better outcomes and better treatment is very gratifying. I've also had a long personal association with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. I've served on the scientific advisory board for many years and know many of the investigators for whom I have very high regard. So I think from a personal standpoint, it's really very gratifying to see these two institutions come together and to tackle this most important problem.